Hello guys and girls, and I'm back with another Skyrim mod spotlight, the first video I've posted in over a year. And no, let me assure you I am not dead or otherwise impaired from making videos. I just had other real world things to work on before I pursued this fangle dangle YouTube stuff, so I can only apologise. This week's spotlight is going to focus on a mod I'm sure many of you are familiar of, and those of you who aren't, strap in and strap on. Wait, no, not the last one, because this is Beyond Skyrim's Bruma. The first in hopefully many planned expansions for the game, courtesy of the Beyond Skyrim team. Their work all looks extremely promising, and I strongly suggest you check them out. So, what is it? For those of you who don't know, it's essentially another kind of Dragonborn or Dawnguard, but it's free. It adds a whole new explorable part of Tamriel, that being the titular Bruma, the northernmost province of Cyrodiil. The synopsis is simple. As dragons return to Skyrim, criminal syndicates and even darker threats arise in Bruma, and it is your job, of course, as always, to lend a hand and restore Bruma to its former glory. Accessing the mod is easy, simply install it in the corresponding DLC patch off of the Nexus and boom, you're ready to go. A new location will appear on your map. To find it, just go over to Riverwood and scroll all the way down to the southernmost point. There's two main ways to enter. There's the Serpent's Trail, which will allow you to sneak past the border undetected, or there's the border itself. You can attempt to persuade the guards into letting you in, but for me that had very bad consequences. And this fucker has clearly been hitting the gym, because let me assure you, God, he can take a beating. Just a brief disclaimer though, I would advise starting this mod at a higher level and have finished the main campaign, simply because the land is harsh and you will be fought constantly, but also because you have to tell the guard that you're the Dragonborn and he'll just let you through. If not, get prepared for a hefty fight or to sneak around the long way. It feels like the devs really intended you to play the mod in this way, so I would advise doing so. As touched upon a second ago, Bruma is perilous. In the short space of walking from the border of the city to the town, I was ambushed by bears, wolves, mages and guards, and it all in the space of about 5 minutes. You can see the devs are trying to build an atmosphere by doing this, and that something is clearly wrong with Bruma. There's anarchy and violence everywhere, and bandits roam in every street, picking fights and looting households. You can see too that the map is a decent size to say the least, as there is tons of different locations to roam and discover. That's something that feels particularly noteworthy, as the team have attempted to remain as faithful to the theme of Tamriel in both architecture and landscape as possible. Every location feels like it could genuinely belong in the world, and nothing seems out of place or unusual. The only small intersection I have to say here is that there is a hard stop invisible wall at the southernmost point of the map, so no, unfortunately you can't explore the capital, but the team is working on it, so hey, hopefully sooner rather than later. There's an overall very different feel to Bruma than there is of Skyrim. There's dense forest in the lower portions of the map and snowy mountain peaks on the top. You can see that the entire thing is clearly set on the side of a large cliff face. It does feel like the sort of bottom end of Skyrim, and I guess that's exactly what it would look like, going from the colder weather to the warmer ones. In the city, you can see just how dedicated the team is to detailing every nook and cranny. It really feels lived in, and the polish is that of the original game and then some. There's over 70 residents in the city alone, and apparently over 24,000 lines of dialogue have been recorded. The voice acting is all of high standards and definitely on par with the original game at least, except for some characters that do come across as a bit odd and a bit tinny and stiff, and maybe a little bit awkward. But you can tell that there were some actors that were definitely semi-professional and some that were maybe more so. Not only that, but every NPC has their own routines, and a fair few of them can even provide you with side quests. And something this mod has in droves is side quests, let me assure you. Not only is the main questline long and sometimes intentionally vague in my experience, but I found this to not be a bad thing, as it encourages you to explore, talk to NPCs and learn more about Bruma, unlocking more and more quests and side quests as I went along. It feels a lot more organic, rather than just giving your character a vague hint as to where they need to go and suddenly a marker appearing at the top of the map like you're some sort of psychic. You'll actually have to explore and use your brain, I know, a real challenge for some of us out there, and figure it out yourself. I'm not going to explore any plot points here, but I will say that apparently the story takes place over various continents of Tamriel and will appear in an overarching narrative towards the end once they've all been released. And after seeing the quality of the story in this mod, I'm particularly hopeful that something great is going to come out of this team. If you do find the vagueness a bit too much though, and I understand that, there are guides online that will help you. It's very easy to find, just a quick Google search will do the job. But I haven't personally felt this want to explore since I first bought the game all those years ago, and it really does breathe a fresh air in to finally see it again. And with something of this level of polish and attention to detail, it's as exciting as picking up the game for the first time. The amount to do really stands as a testament to the team's dedication into crafting a real and believable world, and although sometimes the acting and design doesn't quite hold up to AAA standards, I almost feel that adds to part of the charm. Your exploration will also be accompanied by a gorgeous musical score, one that can sit quietly as a background melody but can change to an epic battle score when fighting to make it feel a bit more intense when it's really needed to. There was over 4+ hours of music recorded for this mod, and I find that truly remarkable, and the composer did a gorgeous job of capturing the feel of Skyrim and Tamriel as a whole. I will sometimes point out though that the music can be a tad annoying during discussions, as at least for me it seemed to be a bit louder than the standard games, and I had to adjust my settings in the menu, so just keep an eye out for that if you're wondering why you can't hear what a character is saying, but for whatever reason the music is booming over their voice. That is a relatively small gripe though, as the rest of the mod has worked flawlessly for me from the get-go, and considering it's so complicated, that really was a sigh of relief, because I was expecting to have to move a lot of files around and do a lot of tinkering / reinstalls to get this thing to work, but no, boom, first time. Integration with other mods hasn't been completely tested, as I mean, god, how am I going to test all the 300+ mods I've got on this thing, but the ones I have been using seem to all work fine. Although it is worth noting that none of these were graphics mods, it is safe to assume that there will likely be little or no hitch, as the ones that are used in this mod are mostly the assets found in the standard game anyway, so hopefully there'll be nothing wrong for you, but just use at your own discretion. Overall, I would say this mod is definitely worth a get. If you haven't already got it or heard about it, I would strongly advise googling into what the team are doing. I really think it's quite amazing, and is a testament to how good the game Skyrim was, especially back in the day. How it's still managing to survive in a current day climate when we've got such other great games around really does boggle me, as it's almost 8 years old. I know, doesn't that make you feel old? But teams like this keep it alive with new and fresh ideas. Here's hoping that they'll continue to push out new content every so often, and that we can continue to enjoy it for free. But please, if you feel the team do deserve some money, you can donate to them at any point, and I would strongly suggest doing so, as I feel I'm about to as well. But with that being said guys, I'm going to end this very brief voiceover here and just kind of leave it running in the background for a couple of minutes, just so you guys can get a feel for what the game is like. I hope you enjoyed this video. It wasn't a very long one, and I didn't go too in depth with it because I really want you to explore yourself. I just wanted to give a brief overview as to what the mod was and what it did, and what you could expect with it in terms of quality. But that's everything for now, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one, and this one won't have a year's gap between it. With that being said, see ya.